Jim Klauck here with the Phenomenal Business Growth Podcast and a good friend of mine. He might be a friend of yours. You may have seen him before. Jim McDonough is joining me here. Hey, Jim, how are you?
I'm phenomenal, Jim, and thank you for having me on. I really do appreciate it. And so just an opportunity to share the message. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I had to have you on the program. You spend so much time with Howard Partridge, the inner circle. You're integral in how that business model works and how you've been coached and how you help coaching. There's so many places to go regarding your involvement with the coaching process at Phenomenal. First of all, I want to thank you for your service to our country. I really appreciate that. And
My pleasure.
would you explain to people who are viewing this how that incorporates into your business? And then we'll get into the coaching part. So the business that you do every day, kind of the bread and butter, much like Howard has his carpet cleaning business, you have a business as well.
That's right. And so we do have a service business, and in our service business and my military background, I'm retired Army after 22 years. We stepped away. I say we, my former business partner and I, we stepped away completely from Army aviation and then started a service company at the location where we retired at. And so that process led us really easily into operations and administration, but we didn't fully understand and appreciate the rest of the aspect of marketing, sales, and building your team under leadership. And so we found ourselves in trouble pretty quick. And so our military background and how it pertains today is we wanted to build a company that was really different than the standard service company that was out there. Our family was very frustrated. Our wives were very frustrated when we were deployed with contractors that would show up late. They wouldn't call back if they did get in touch with them, and just made them feel uncomfortable with how they were treated inside their home. And so we wanted to build a service company that was a little bit different than the traditionals that we had in our area. And when we heard that message from Howard and the inner circle, we found the training that we needed through the inner circle. It caught my ear. And in 2013, near the end of 2013, we joined the inner circle to get the training and the coaching that we needed as young budding entrepreneurs and getting started in this whole process. And we are so thankful. It is the number one best business decision I ever made, was to find a business coach.
I have to agree with you. Everybody says it once they do it. It's almost true of anything. People saying, you know what, I went to the gym by myself, but when I got a coach or a trainer, it was better. Hired a nutritionist, hired a CPA, whatever it was in their personal or business life. When they do it, it finally clicks and they're like, how did I live without it? And Howard and Phenomenal are very different than most programs. I'm going to tell everybody that now. For those of you who are tuning in and you don't know a lot about Howard, who's got a great story. He's from LA, Lower Alabama. We know the whole story, Jim, right? And he started a carpet cleaning business out of the trunk of his car, and he is like all of us, or was like all of us, maybe the ones that are slaves to the business.
Yep.
And he has a mission. And I tell people, when you go to an event, and if you're ever lucky enough to go to a boot camp and be invited maybe to Inner Circle to visit, you are going to see a group of people, a culture. I like to say it's kind of like going to church in some ways, and it's a great community. Can you expand on that as far as when you first joined, did you feel the same way?
Absolutely. So as a frustrated and overwhelmed business owner, and watching your numbers and your the statistics going in the opposite direction of what you need, it really pulled from us the fact that we needed professional help. We needed someone to guide us through that. And Howard's program through inner circle training and phenomenal business coaching was really to help us business owners build a predictable, profitable turnkey business. And turnkey was key because I wanted to be in it. I really get great enjoyment out of cleaning, but I am getting older. I know at some point I got to give up the physical work and start using the head up here for the mental work. And the business needs to be the vehicle to help our team members achieve their life goals and dreams, which meant I needed to learn how to reframe my mind on what I was recruiting, what I was help bringing in, and then to build a leadership team that people stayed at to reduce the turnover. That's all experienced right up front at these boot camps. It's phenomenal. Like you said, it's almost a church experience. It really is. When you find Jesus Christ for the first time, and it comes into your life, and you feel that, you get emotional, and it's just this sense of calm and peace afterwards, that you've got someone there to support you, and you can lift up all these problems, and someone will listen to you, someone will help work you through it, and someone will help guide you, give you that support, that encouragement, that accountability that is so important to a business owner that may not have to report to anybody. And that can be too much rope for some people at sometimes. And then they end up really finding themselves in trouble. And so the inner circle really brought all that together, and it helped keep myself and my business partner in line, which brought our alignment together. And now we were headed in the same direction. And that was significant for what we had prior to joining the inner circle. I hope that answered your question there.
No, absolutely. Participating in an organization like Phenomenal Business Coaching, the inner circle, is like being with family without the family drama. So a lot of people who are mature, like we are in life, we know what family can mean. Thanksgiving, Christmas, we're like, oh, we got to see Uncle Bud, right?
Right.
So we have to be careful when we talk about family. This family is like family should be, right? The family we always wanted. It's welcoming. Howard has worked with thousands of companies and individuals over the years. Right now, I believe there's over 430 members. He knows them all. He'll come up and shake your hand and give you a hug. He'll even shed a tear, as we all do on stage. Usually when we're up there, we all have a moving story. And it's so different than a normal conference, and that's why I'm bringing this up. It's so different than a normal group. Business association. It's not sterile. It's not cold. It's extremely warm, and there's no dumb questions because the same questions are asked over and over again. I know. I've known Howard for almost 20 years. I've seen it over and over again. I've seen people, graduate through. They're able to sell their business for 6 times maybe, and, have the ultimate freedom now. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking for, right? They're looking for I need some freedom today, but ultimately many of them want to exit, don't they?
That's right. And so you got to understand end game. And so the inner circle helps walk you through life cycle of your business. Where are you at today? How do you get to where you want to be? And then what is that 5 to 10 year program to be able to exit? Whether we build a business and hold on to it, and it's a cash cow, but you're not working in it because it's turnkey, or we can actually work into it, love working into it. If you're a doctor, lawyer, dentist, and you build business systems around you that, again, become predictable, profitable, and consistent, you've got many options to deal with that. But then when you need to sell the business, Jim, you're exactly right. You've got the systems in place. You've got the team that's well-trained. They've got longevity in the business. They've got growth. They've got documented or demonstrated client base and where that business is going to be going. We show you how to capture all of that. So if you do go to the point where you're going to sell it, because let's face it, every asset at some point in life becomes a liability, and you'll have to liquidate. How you get that thing to move will either translate into many, many dollars, or it's just going to evaporate. And we want you to have an asset in which is a true asset that pays to own it, so you can sleep using the systems, and the people that are working the systems absolutely love to show up to work every day. And so there's a lot that this is life cycle management for a business, and it is wonderful.
Yeah. So if you're working 7 days a week, 15 hours a day, which for some people, they're nodding their head. They're like, well, actually more than that. I work 8 hours. 8 days a week, right? That's what it feels like. They're working on holidays. You don't have to be that slave. And I know that. I started my first business back in 2003. I left the corporate world. Much like Jim left the service, I left the corporate world. and wanted to be an entrepreneur. And my wife warned me because she came from a family of entrepreneurs. And she said, you do realize, Jim, that this is going to be harder working for yourself than it is someone else. I'm like, no, I want freedom. I didn't know I'd be working harder until I learned how to leverage, how to use systems, how to work in a community of others like Howard and the inner circle, how that helps me in my business, how it helps Jim in his business, how it helps thousands of others.
Yep. So what you're talking about there is having the understanding that we have so many requirements. They're coming at us just daily. The operational requirements, it's inexhaustible. It's always there. But there's a piece in the inner circle here that we have, and that piece comes from having a known written framework, and that's the Phenomenal Business Growth Planner. It helps you plan an entire year out. You live 12 weeks at a time by the quarter, lots of business assessments so you can take a snapshot of where you are physically and emotionally and where your staff is at in all 5 functional areas of the business, whether it is leadership and building your team, and then marketing, sales, operations, administration. And this one Phenomenal Business Growth Planner really is the backbone to the whole program because everything links to it. Everything is defined. It helps you define the vision, sets the values for the company, lays out the mission, what's got to get done every day, gives you all the benchmarks for your KPIs, shows you how to record them. And if you don't have these systems in your business, they're all available online. You download it. So much easier to edit than it is to create. And that is probably one of the small business fallacies that are out there, is the fact that you as the business owner have to make it up and have to be original. No, you don't. There's systems that are already out there. Buy them off the shelf, plug, play, make money today. Give yourself the freedom that you need sooner, instead of ended up being what you hear is, it took me 20 years to become an overnight success. Let's shorten that time frame. I want to shorten that to give you the freedom sooner than later. There are no shortcuts, though.
Yeah, decades ago, a guy by the name of Bill Gates created a software system called Microsoft Office, and so forth. We plug that in, right? We use it. There are other systems that we use. Why are we trying to reinvent the wheel? There are people who have gone down this path for decades, maybe even hundreds of years. If you study some of the old guys, it's great stuff. Things really don't change much. The principles are the same. You remind me a little bit of Victor Kiam. Do you remember? He's the guy that bought the shaver company. Remember the ads years ago? I was so impressed, I bought the company.
Okay.
Isn't that kind of your story too? You were so impressed. You've gotten a little deeper into the coaching at Phenomenal. Can you touch upon that?
Absolutely. So I started out as someone coming into the pipeline, and I'm a product of the system. So I desperately needed, and I was seeking information and help. So I found it with Howard's organization in the inner circle. And so I started using the program. I learned the systems. I implemented the systems. I can follow direction. That comes in the military aspect of it. And so I've checked the pride at the door a long time ago, set that aside. And then if I can find a system and bolt it onto my cart, and that system allows me to go smoother down the road or faster down the road to reach my objective, I'm all over that. I believe in this program so much that when Howard made this available in a franchise, I was the first one to buy in, because I knew this would change lives. And by just sharing my message, the fact that when we started this in 2013, we only grossed $185,000 that year. I was $268,000 in unsecured debt. My bank that thought they were going to do me a great solid here consolidated a whole bunch of my debt, and then took my terms from around 5 years and crushed them down into 3 years. It about bankrupted us. Every time we've scaled, I had issues along the way until I could see it lay out here in the inner circle. And so now we have financial stability. We have cash flow operating systems. All our procedures are written. Our people are loving it. Our turnover is so low. When people leave, they're either moving because they're military spouses and they're moving, they have to leave, and they cry going out the door for a good reason, because they're leaving a solid culture. Okay. And then I promote that today because there is hope out there for the small business owner. And if you're listening to this and you are on that verge of I'm just shutting it down. It'd be a whole lot easier. Well, I want you to go through and just figure out, just think about for a little bit, how do you unwind what you've already done and save face? I would rather, let's just start earning some money, put some systems in place. Let's salvage it. Let's build it up. Let's either keep it and make a bunch of money or sell it and make a bunch of money. One way or the other, the IRS is going to make you figure out your financial situation. Let's do it the right way.
Exactly. One final thing here, and I think this is important because I know people who are viewing this, there are some that have been working in their business for decades and they're older. They're 50, 60 years old. There are others that are 30 years old. Would you agree with me? If you're just starting your business, now would be the time to engage with any type of coaching program and start early than have to unravel things.
Yes, absolutely. The sooner you do it, the better off you're going to be. And that comes down to the law of primacy. What you learn in the beginning, you learn the deepest and it's ingrained the most. Let's learn things the right way, right up front. And so part of that investment is not only what's going to be for your marketing budget, but you need to know that there needs to be a line in there on your operational budget for coaching. And I would do that early. There's a lot of options that are out there. There is no more complete program than Howard Partridge, the Inner Circle, with everything backed by Ziglar. And Zig Ziglar, he's phenomenal. The program of the Inner Circle is all built on Ziglar products and Ziglar framework. And so you get lots of reach back with many, many, many coaches for you and your staff for one investment.
I'm glad you brought up Zig Ziglar. You probably know my story. He was very instrumental in building me up as a young person and as a young business owner. But he's, you know, his system through his children now, such as Tom Ziglar, the phenomenal business coaching system uses Ziglar. So they're like this.
Yep.
And what a great value for someone who's a small business owner to get involved with a great group of other small business owners that are led by true leaders.
That's right. Absolutely right. They're all in alignment. Tom, Howard, they're all in alignment with each other. There's other authors and speakers that are involved with the Inner Circle, John Maxwell, Michael Gerber, Brian Tracy. So we're looking at Howard is not afraid to bring people that complement his business. He is not afraid that there's going to be competition. And this is why he's got such width and depth to his program. There is no other more complete system in coaching than there is here in the Inner Circle for that startup business, or not that startup business, but that small business.
I agree. And, you know, a final note, it's not just about classroom coaching. When you go to an event, if you're lucky enough to go to a boot camp or be invited to Inner Circle, you will see speakers that you would ordinarily have to pay a lot of money for. And you see them all within like 2 days of a conference that are outstanding. I told Howard the last one I went to was maybe the best I had been to. The speakers there were just great.
Off the
And
charts,
that alone offers so much value.
Yeah, that's right. So you get the community, the people that are at your table, those that are in that room are just fantastic, phenomenal people that just love on each other. This is a very high positive culture inside the Inner Circle. And then they're bringing in high caliber, top-notch national and international speakers. And then they pour into us as in the community. There's weekly pods. So there's small groups, just like in a church. So you get the small group setting and feeling. So you get a safe space to talk about who you are, what you're experiencing, the pluses and the rough spots that go along with small business, and someone to lean on. And when you're having troubles, lean into your community. There's community here that is really big. It gives you that support, that encouragement, with a loving community that wants you to win, of fellow business owners. Yeah.
Jim, if you don't mind, I'm going to put your contact information in the description of this podcast so people can reach out to you directly to talk to you about the coaching program at Phenomenal Business Coaching. As well as, of course, if you, people who are viewing this, have interest in going to a boot camp, which is a very inexpensive way to get introduced to Howard and Jim and some other great people, I'll have that information also listed in the description. And of course, how to get a hold of Howard directly as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to share this last thing with you. You see this right over here? These are 3 degrees right here on the wall. That's my wife's on the top, her first bachelor's. Then on the two certificates here, it's my wife's second bachelor's and her master's degree. So she's got about 10 years of class time and kitchen table time as she's getting her master's degree on the second career of her life. She makes about $52,000 a year. I've attended 2 seminars, both totaling about $800. I've made millions because I've got good, actionable intel and programs that I can put to use today. And so I'd like to share people with that. And I didn't think we'd have this available here today, but that's just a great way to look at those boot camps will change your life. Absolutely. And you feel free, reach out to me. My information will be on here, jim@phenomenalbusinesscoaching.com. You can write me at that, and I'd be happy to talk you through any concerns, questions, and be the guide that can help you win the game of life and business.
It's fantastic. Jim, I wish we could talk all day, but you and I are both very busy. So thank you so much for your time today, and we'll see you at the next event, my friend.
God bless you. Thanks again for having me on here. For those that are listening, God bless you, and may you go forth and prosper.